Hi there, it's Alara here from Alara Role Coaching, and today I wanted to do a bit of a video about Alara the person, because a lot of you have been in my network for a little while now. Some of you I've met personally, some of you I haven't, but I think that online there is generally a lack of connection about who is who. So this is a little bit about Alara the person. So if you've been seeing one of my posts about what kind of thing I do, this is more about who I actually am. So who the person behind the scenes is. So if you were to ask my close friends and my family about who is Alara and what's the main thing about her, it would be the fact that I'm full of energy and bouncy. I think this is the first kind of definition that I've ever heard of myself from my aunt, from my parents, from my friends, and they say, oh, whenever I'm around you, I'm super bouncy. And the thing is, it's not, I wouldn't actually define myself as a super energetic, bouncy, woo person. The thing about me is I can't stand stagnantness. I can't stand not doing anything. I'm a doer. And my very first memory that I can remember, the very first memory that I can remember is, you had these like crying machines that could tell your parents if the baby's crying. So I was young enough to need one of those. So there was a crying machine in the room, but I didn't know what it was. And I remember waking up in the middle of the night, and I didn't know where anyone was. All the lights were off, everything was quiet. I had no idea where anyone was, and for some reason, I just remember being worried. Like, instead of going back to sleep, I was like, oh, I need to figure out what's happened. So I remember walking out of bed. I wasn't crying or anything. I went downstairs, no one was there. I went and looked into my parents' room. They weren't in their beds, but all the lights were off, and I must have been about 4 or something. So I remember walking out of the front door in the middle of the night, putting on these massive wellies that came up to my thighs, and walking over to the neighbour's house. And I said, I can't find my parents, and no one's in the house, and the lights are off, and no one's in their bed. So it turned out that my parents had gone round to the neighbour's house to just have like an evening chat with free of the kids and free of stresses. And my mum came and and she was like, okay, go back to bed, it's okay. But the thing about that was, she was like, I didn't hear you crying. I was like, I wasn't crying. So for me, it's always been around taking action to just sort the problem. Like there's no point about just looking on the surface level. And the thing about my childhood that you might not know is that it's almost surreal. It's so different to people that I know, people in my circle. And one of the reasons for that is that I was brought up in a totally different culture than I live in now. I was brought up in Turkey, for those of you that don't know. I'm half Turkish, my dad is Turkish, my mum is English. And in Turkey, everything is done differently. But one of the main things that stood out about Turkish culture to me is the fact that they have this really tight cultural connection with each other. So everyone is constantly helping everyone. I remember on every hike that we went on, if we saw a villager, they would invite us in for tea. If you go in for tea, they'll invite you for dinner. If you have dinner, they'll invite you to stay overnight. So there is like no hesitation between people wanting to open their homes to you. And I was brought up in this warm, connected society, right? So the second thing that was surreal about my childhood was the way that my parents brought me up. So everything was a lesson. It was constantly around turning inwards. And I'm pretty lucky in terms of the way that my parents brought me up in that sense, because what they taught me was trusting my intuition, and the way that they did that was constantly putting me in situations that pushed me out of my comfort zone. I was learning to play the flute, and within 1 year of playing the flute, I was playing the flute in a hotel with my sister. We were playing duets in the evenings and getting paid for it because my dad was like, oh, why not? So that was a second thing that was truly surreal about my childhood, was I was constantly pushed out of my comfort zone, so I actually had to end up trusting my intuition. The third thing that was absolutely amazing and totally surreal about my childhood was actually the job that my parents did. So my parents have an outdoor activities company, and my dad actually quit his uni physics degree so that he could start this company, and my mum came along kind of like very near the start. So my childhood was constantly spent outdoors, hiking, rafting, swimming, kayaking, running, climbing, mountain biking. I was always outside. My whole childhood, I can remember memories constantly being outside, constantly being outdoors, and not just kind of like, oh, let's go for a picnic, like in the wild outdoors, connecting with raw nature. And now that's actually become a thing. I think it's originated in Japan. It's called tree hugging, and people will go out into nature and hug trees because it's so healing. And I never really noticed, like, oh yeah, it's how beautiful it is. I knew that I was lucky, but I never really noticed how freaking lucky I was until all of those three things were taken away from me. So I moved when I was 16 to the UK, and the culture is so different. The culture aspect of what I had in Turkey, gone. I had no mentor, I had no one supporting me to turn inwards and trust my intuition, so confidence, gone. And the connection to nature, I was living in a city, so that was gone. And suddenly, a childhood that I had, that I felt super connected to society, super connected to myself, connected to nature, suddenly turned into this isolated experience. And when I started losing that, I felt depressed. I started getting fat. I felt hollow and dull inside. But the thing was, I knew that I wasn't hollow and dull inside. I just felt that way so strongly. And throughout the whole of my life, the thing you might not know about me if you don't know me in person is throughout the whole of my life, I have constantly attracted people that have high anxiety, that might have experienced depression, that are going through some kind of internal struggle, and I've attracted these kind of people, and we've actually built a really nice friendship. But the thing about now, when I moved to England, me experiencing this depression and this hollowness inside, was that I couldn't help people anymore. And the thing that made it worse was I knew what it was like to be this person on the outside. So it kicked me into gear, into I need to sort something out. I need to figure this out. I don't know why I'm feeling hollow inside, because I know I'm not hollow inside. So what ended up happening was that I ended up understanding what success meant for me. And I had to get extremely clear on what success meant for me. And I spent my whole life around people that I thought were amazing, but didn't, only got to a certain level, right? So my dad, he built up his company, he influenced so many people. He was the first person to introduce whitewater rafting to Turkey, and then he kind of, I saw him reach a dull, and we didn't go any further than that. And a lot of my friends around me also have reached that level. They've done amazing things, got amazing qualifications, but they reach a level and they stay there on a plateau. And for me, the only reason why I see them stay there is because they is a sense of security, right? Once you've found the security, there's no reason to go out of your comfort zone to go even further, right? So I've spent my whole life seeing these people with amazing potential, but actually not going any further than that for the sake of security. So I ended up subconsciously defining success for myself as reaching our highest possible potential in every area of our life. And I mean this so thoroughly that it's higher potential than we can even comprehend. So we were having a conversation with Josh about this the other day, about like, what does success actually mean to you? And he's like, well, having freedom to do everything that you want in all areas of your life. So that was his definition of success. For me, I was like, reaching your highest potential possible in every single area of your life. That's when we thrive, that's when we make an impact in the world. And really it tied back to that time in my childhood where it was connected to the world, connected to our society, connected to ourselves, and connected to nature, the universe, a thing that's bigger than us. Right, so what I ended up doing was asking myself a ton of questions. I was like, if I don't know where I'm going, how the hell am I going to reach my highest potential in every single area of my life? Because I experienced this with a lot of my friends, but also I went through this myself as well. No one freaking knew what they wanted to do, where where they were going, right? In fact, Josh is the only person actually in my close circle that has been like, this is exactly what I want to do, I'm going to do this, and he's an aeronautical engineer. But everyone else that I know has no idea. And I don't have any idea either, because we don't have any support around us. And I made a video about this the other day. So if you want to hear more about my rant on that, watch that video. But really, I felt that I had little to no support around choosing the direction that I wanted to go in. So that was the first question I started to ask myself. How can I reach my highest potential without knowing the direction that I want to go? The second question was, if our highest potential is something that we can't even comprehend, if my highest potential is something that I can't even comprehend with the mindset that I have now, how can I achieve that potential without growing, without changing the person that I am now? And the reason that I started asking myself this question was, that was the reason I saw people started to plateau, because they reached a certain potential but didn't want to go any further because they reached this barrier of growth, that they needed to become someone new, grow further, change their beliefs, change the person they were. And that is bloody hard. That's bloody hard, because we're constantly looking for reasons why, external reasons why we can't achieve our potential, but we plateau when we get to a point where we are the reason. So I started getting really interested in how to constantly improve, constantly grow ourselves. And so I got really into NLP, which is a way of understanding the language of our brain and reprogramming it. So the third question that I asked myself was, fine, but I know where I'm going, I know who I need to be, and I know the way that I can change into that person to achieve my highest potential. But if I can't articulate my direction and what I'm all about, then how the hell am I going to get people on board with it? How am I going to be able to make an impact if I can't spread that message, if I can't articulate it to people, if people don't understand what this is all about? So I started getting really into public speaking, to actually even making videos like this, and it's kind of shaped the way that my business has grown now as well, around helping people articulate who they are, what they're about, growing into the person that they need to become so that they can achieve this highest potential that they have, and articulating it in a way that people get on board with it. And that's the reason why my business right now aligns with who I am so much, because it's born from my core values. So I just wanted to do this quick video just to explain a little bit about the depth behind who I am, because I know on social media we can have a lot of prejudices against, oh, this is what I think about you, this is who you are, and we're very quick to judge. I'm quick to judge, and you're quick to judge. So I'm taking responsibility for trying to show you the rawest possible version of myself, who the drivers that's behind this person that's constantly on camera, constantly posting on Facebook for you. So hopefully you found this video insightful, and I'll see you in my next video. Have a great day.